we have compiled various online topics where Japanese people talk about culture, social issues, etc. In Japan, the anime Delicious in Dungeon was watched more than the TV series Fallout. Delicious in Dungeon is a gourmet fantasy manga that combines adventure and gourmet food, in which the protagonist explores dungeons while cooking various monsters that appear in classic fantasy works on the spot using real-life cooking methods. This is an image that became a hot topic on Japanese social media on the day that the TV drama version of Fallout started streaming. While Fallout was ranked #1 in viewership ratings around the world, the anime version of Delicious in Dungeon was ranked #1 in Japan, which became a hot topic. This time, we will introduce what makes Delicious in Dungeon better than other fantasy comics, and what made it preferentially watched by Japanese people over the drama version of Fallout. By the way, there is no doubt that the drama version of Fallout is very popular content in Japan, so don't worry. First, let's look at the good and bad points of the game, focusing on user reviews. Also, please rest assured that this video does not contain spoilers. Good points. Even though the story is mostly set inside the dungeon and there is no outside world setting, the characters are very appealing. The setting is elaborate. The worldview, dungeon strategy, cooking knowledge, etc. are all detailed and realistic. It's not just a food anime. There are lots of exciting things to do, like wondering what kind of monster they'll encounter next, or how Leos and the others will survive. Bad points. Saving Farron has become too much of a goal, and both the gourmet feel and the gourmet perspective fade with each episode. This just makes it a half-baked fantasy work. I'm sure the author of this work really likes creating a worldview, but he's so bad at digging deep into the characters' inner psyches that it's not interesting at all. It's always hectic, with someone always making a joke and someone else always chiming in. It feels like there's always an argument somewhere and someone is angry. If you can't keep up with this vibe, it's pretty tough. On its positive points, the story received high praise for its realistic world setting, its appealing characters, and its original focus on food that is not seen in other fantasy works. The negative points were that despite the detailed worldview, it was difficult to understand the inner thoughts of the characters. The comedy was too strong and some people had a hard time following it, and the theme of food was not fully handled. However, overall reviews have been generally positive, and the original comic has been translated into various languages, gaining fans of not only young age groups but also of various ages and genders. That's why in Japan, Amazon Prime Video ranked first in the rankings, beating out the drama version of Fallout. In particular, the process of cooking monsters that appear in traditional fantasy works, such as slime and dragons, with a unique interpretation and realism, has stimulated the imagination of many people as something that can only be enjoyed in this work. In particular, the process of cooking monsters that appear in traditional fantasy works, such as slime and dragons, with a unique interpretation and realism, has stimulated the imagination of many people as something that can only be enjoyed in this work. Weeds are pulled out properly. Fertilizer is not added directly, but is processed as necessary. A variety of vegetables are harvested, taking into consideration problems caused by continuous cropping. Taking these points into consideration, even professional farmers rate the golem farming method as extremely realistic and wonderful. What kind of person is the author who introduces such detailed settings into her stories? The private life of the author, Ryoko Kui, is shrouded in mystery. There is no way to know any information about her other than that she is probably a woman in her 30s. However, it is widely known that she conducts extensive research to improve the quality of her stories, and despite her cheerful style, she is rumored to be extremely hardworking and have excellent taste. She is praised as being as good as Koyoharu Gottage, the author of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, because they are both fantasy authors and she is a female author who has an overwhelming fan base. Apparently some fans do. Here is what Ryoko Kui said in an interview with a certain media outlet. She played and studied various RPG games in order to understand the fantasy genre, which continues from Dungeons and Dragons. By the way, the title Delicious in Dungeon was also named by her editor as a sign of respect for Dungeons and Dragons. List of games used as reference when making Delicious in Dungeon. Wizardry series Legend of Grimrock Baldur's Gate 1-3. Starfield Red Dead Redemption 2. Immortality Return of the Obra Dinn Her Story. The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom. House Flipper Unpacking Disco Elysium Detroit Become Human. Kingdom Come. Deliverance Life is Strange My Time at Portia. This is just a partial list, and the actual number of games played is more than double this. It's clear that she has done a wide range of research, from famous games to obscure games to non-fantasy games. Furthermore, until she wrote Delicious in Dungeon, she wasn't a big gamer, but she played these games just because she felt that she had to do at least some research on fantasy. She also said that her motifs were not limited to computer games, and that she had studied a variety of other sources. It seems that she used this vast collection of materials to create a detailed worldview. For example, fantasy enthusiasts say that the fact that Delicious in Dungeon is made up of races such as humans, elves, hobbits, and half-foots is an easy-to-understand homage to traditional fantasy. Furthermore, they say that the appearance of ninjas and samurai later on is nothing other than an homage to wizardry. The internet community is also talking about the geeky homages that Delicious in Dungeon is sprinkled with, so if you're interested, you might want to look for it. What's even more surprising about the author of Delicious in Dungeon is that this is his first full-length novel. Although he has published several collections of short stories, it must be a miracle that an author with little experience has been able to produce such an enchanting work. The world of Delicious in Dungeon continues to expand, and at the time this video was uploaded, a collaboration cafe recreating dishes from the game was being held in Tokyo, Japan. More details will be posted in the video description. A solo exhibition is currently being held in Kyoto. Various goods will be sold here, and original paintings will be exhibited. If you have a chance to come to Japan, please consider stopping by these events. What do you think of the introduction and explanation of Delicious in Dungeon? It is a pity that I cannot tell you the details of the wonderful storytelling from the first volume to the last volume, because I tried to avoid spoilers of the story. I won't reveal the details, but this work has been highly acclaimed for the fact that from the middle of the story onwards, a grand story that includes philosophical themes such as, what is life? What does it mean to live? Is developed. There is no doubt that this is the reason. The original comic is complete, but the anime is just about halfway through. If you haven't experienced this work yet, it's not too late, so please experience the world of Delicious in Dungeon. We promise you a delicious experience like you've never experienced before. I hope that Japanese people and Japanese culture will be understood by people all over the world, and that we can all coexist better in this world. Please feel free to post any thoughts or messages you have. The creator is Japanese, but comments will be translated and read, so we would appreciate it if you would post in any language. We appreciate all comments, whether you sympathize or dislike them.